Hey there, educators, how's it going? And I really hope you enjoyed today's video on basically all of the fine-tuned settings within Zoom. Now, Zoom, if you watched my last video, I gave a very brief tutorial. Today, I want to focus on the setting page. And these are settings that you enable, so whenever you start a video chat room, basically, these settings will default and you don't have to worry about changing things. And it just makes your life easier for the most part. So go ahead, when you're logged into Zoom, click the settings, and then you're going to see that we're going to start up here and we can do host video or participants video. So the host video, you are the host. I think the best way to do it is have you default with your webcam on no matter what, just because that's going to automatically just cut out a feature of you having to set something up. So we have host video on, so your video is going to start with on, and then your participant video, you want to make sure it's toggled off. And with Zoom, just so you know how things work, when it's blue, that means it's on, and when it's grayed out, that means it's off. So if it's toggled to the left, it's off. Here you can choose what audio type you want. If you want kids to be able to use telephone and computer audio, so they could call in with a telephone if they don't have a computer available. Or you can set that specifically as telephone only or computer audio only. Now, here is an important feature to note. Join before host. You want to make sure this is toggled off so your students can't jump into your room unsupervised. Keep that in mind. Okay. As we keep scrolling down here, mute participants upon entry. Toggle that one on. Right? You want to make sure those kids' audio mics are muted before they jump into the room. Otherwise, you never know what you might hear, and we want to avoid that for everyone's sake, especially middle school students. Next, as we keep going down, we want to make sure our chat is enabled. We want people to be able to respond in chat. Auto-saving chats, please make sure that's enabled. That's going to save the chat for you automatically, so then we have a record of it. We can go back for whatever reason. We can play a sound when participants join or leave. That is totally up to you. It can get really annoying, especially if you have somebody with a poor connection. It will play a sound. Sorry for hitting the microphone there. It will play a sound every time they either join or leave, so someone with a poor connection might keep toggling that sound and it can be distracting. I recommend having it turned off. File transfer, you can actually send students files within Zoom itself. So if you have a Word doc or a PDF, you can actually send that to them in the chat function. I like to have that on. As we keep scrolling down, we're going to see screen sharing right here. Make sure that's toggled on, but more importantly, make sure you select host only. Otherwise, anybody within your room can be sharing their screen and presenting it. We don't want that to happen. Now, in our meeting itself, we can actually go in and change that if you haven't set it as a default, but set it as a default for host only. Really good practice right there. Next, as we go down, whiteboard. I recommend enabling the whiteboard. It's a good feature to have in case you need to do any math problems, so you can use that there. Nonverbal feedback. I would enable that. That way you can get those polling features that I showed in my previous video. The breakout rooms, this is something you need to assign. You need to toggle this on. If this is not toggled on, you will not get the breakout feature. And then here, allow hosts to assign participants to breakout rooms when scheduling. So if you have sent out a schedule to all of your students individually and they click yes, then you can actually go ahead of time and assign what kids belong in what room. Otherwise, you can do that in real time there, or I should say on the chat. Virtual background. The virtual background is a cool feature. It just allows you to display pictures, images, anything. It works really well if you have a green screen. If you don't, it still works actually pretty well. So, you know, maybe you don't want to be presenting in a room at dusk with a giant light on you, and instead you'd rather be on the beach. You can change that and enable it in your Zoom feature. So that always works. Totally up to you. Turn that on, turn that off. Again, up to you. As we keep scrolling down, Attention tracking, this is one I'll leave up to you so you can know if you're sharing your screen to students. If you enable this, if a student clicks on a new tab and then the Zoom meeting is no longer open for them, you'll get a notification about it and you can call them. So you can bring attention to them because you're getting a notification. They're still hearing the audio because they still have the room open. It's just they've opened up a new tab and they're not paying attention. Might be something worth to do. Here you can do a waiting room, so attendees cannot join a meeting until a host admits them individually. That is up to you. Might be beneficial if you don't want everybody jumping on at once and instead you'd rather put them in like a holding pattern. Your preference. Okay, email notification when attendees join meeting before host. What will happen is if a student's really eager to learn and be in the classroom and you're not in the meeting area, you'll actually get an email notification saying that so-and-so is waiting for the presentation to start. Just a cool feature. And then that's really it for our settings. So now that we've covered all of those settings, go through, see what you want, pick and choose what you want. I've given my recommendations. Definitely, though, have your breakout room enabled. I think that's a really cool feature that you can use. Nonverbal, definitely have that. Whiteboard, definitely have that. But most importantly, your screen sharing should be set to host only. All right, if you have found this video helpful, please make sure you hit that like button if you're watching it on YouTube. And as always, thanks for watching.